you have to kill your ego. And friendship, a lot of the times we don't talk about the humility necessary in friendships.
Decentering yourself again. So the world doesn't necessarily revolve around you, but you must revolve around the world.
I love that. If the only way you can show vulnerability is to be naked, physically naked, you've got a problem. Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about female friendships. That's right. What does it take to actually be a good friend? Why are friendships really, really important? And when should you cut loose that toxic friend?
Burn a bridge.
Burn a bridge. But before we get into that, if you have been around here for a minute, you know we're about to go into the what?
Ding, ding, ding.
Dilemma. Okay. Hold on, a good sis got to put on her glasses first.
Ooh, we pray for your eyesight.
All right. That laser eye surgery is coming soon, fam.
Soon come.
Actually dusty. Cool. So, hey sisters, love the channel and love TMS. I've been such a supporter even before the YouTube channel, and it's crazy to see all the growth. I know it's actually insane. It's really great. So my dilemma today is regarding a friend I've had for a long time who has recently become a whole problem. Ooh. She was part of my main friendship group, only the three of us since childhood.
Oh, okay.
But recently she fell out with my other friend.
I was about to say friendship group of three. Unless you're all really strong people, they don't usually turn out good.
It's tight. This has made it difficult for me to stay friends with both of them, as hanging out with one makes it look like I'm betraying the other. On top of that, this particular friend has lost a few of her other close friends due to various reasons. I'm a little worried that she's toxic, and I don't know how to have the conversation with her. I don't want to be the next friend she cuts off because I really care about her. What should I do?
It is a situation as old as time. A situation as old as time. Losing a friend and having to balance all your other relationships.
Yeah.
I think it seems like if you've identified that she's a bit toxic, I think either have a conversation with her that leads to resolution in terms of her overcoming those toxic traits in order for you two to maintain your friendship. I don't think you can force friendship between her and your other friend.
Yeah.
That's something they'll have to resolve by themselves and it's not your responsibility. I feel like when you're in a friendship group of three and there's one friend left that is friends with the two people, they try to like repair things and kind of be that little bridge and that little counsel that gets the friendship group back together. I have learned, sadly, through hard circumstances that you don't want to play that part. If they want to be friends, they'll figure it out. If they express to you that they want you to help make the relationship better, then that's a different thing. But unless they really want to be friends, that's not your responsibility. But also, I think it sounds like this girl or friend, if she's toxic, then maybe you should distance yourself. I don't think it necessarily has to be, well, I don't want her to cut me off. There can be distance, healthy distance in friendships because the nature of friendships always evolve and they always change over time. But it sounds like she's been falling out with a whole bunch of people and
you might just be
the next person, you know? So I think see how the relationship takes its course. But definitely if you feel like you've identified toxic traits in a friend, have a conversation about it. And don't just, ask other people. Definitely talk to them because they may not have identified these toxic traits and you may, be the catalyst that brings on change if they're responsive in that way. Yeah, that's what I'd say. How about yourself?
I think I very much agree with what you were saying. Like my first thing would be like talk to them because in my mind I was just imagining what would I do if I saw you exhibiting like really toxic traits. I would tell you straight up.
100%.
So and the fact that you guys have been friends since like primary school for such a long time suggests that there should be that level of maturity in the relationship to be able to call BS on someone 100%. When they're behaving a particular type of way. It's not going to be comfortable. But it's better for you to give it a go and give it your best shot before it all just completely crumbles. And the thing is, if you don't directly handle this, then it's going to manifest in something else.
Facts.
There's like relationships that break down over the smallest thing, but it actually isn't the thing itself, but it's being used as an outlet for a whole host of other things.
Things have been building up.
Exactly. So don't let things build up. Actively be proactive in making those efforts to reach out to her and, you know, check her on her behavior and stuff like that, and go to her directly. And if that doesn't work out over the course of your relationship, then it might be a thing where you guys have to distance just a little bit.
And sometimes friendships end that way, amicably, you know, and even if it ain't amicable, sometimes it's necessary. So sorry.
Sometimes it's, you gotta go. You gotta pack your bags and be going. And I think,
but it's hard, especially with a childhood friend. I've lost quite a few childhood friends.
Yeah.
I just think time generally does that to you, and like just evolving into different people. You're not the same person you were when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And so as much as there's fondness there and history there, sometimes you just grow up to not see eye to eye. But then at the same time, it is one of the most painful things, because sometimes you think, oh, how did we not? Like, how did this not work out? Because you tell yourself, we're going to be best friends forever. Forever ain't a long time.
Ooh, child. Yeah. It's not a long time. And it's actually okay. Like, I think we touched on this in the romantic sense of relationships ending. But also, it's okay for a relationship to end if that's the most healthy thing for it to be. Right? Like, hanging on is... you're gonna lose a couple hairline. 100%. It does more damage than good
if it's not worth it, and if both people aren't fighting for it either. Like, if you've expressed, I don't like XYZ, or I've seen these behaviors and I don't like it, and someone else is not committed to really hearing out your grievances and really trying to change to maintain the relationship, you'll find that the relationship will easily become one-sided, as in you kind of letting go of your standards or tiptoeing around her and just letting her be who she is, rather than actually evolving and helping her evolve as a friend and as a sister. So I feel like unless you actually say the truth, you're going to hinder your friendship a lot, because at the end of the day, you're not comfortable with everything that she does. Unless you make that clear, it's not truly friendship. You're just staying around because you're a bit scared. And you don't want to be a friendship because of fear, because that's kidnap. You don't want that.
Not kidnap.
That's you're holding someone hostage as a friend. You're holding me hostage as a friend. I'm allowing myself to be held hostage as a friend because I'm scared. We don't want that. We want to be in relationships out of freedom. No, but but in the sense that if I'm your friend, Renee, if you realize I was your friend because I'm scared that if I told you what I really think of you, you'd flip out.
Yeah, you must go.
I'm not a friend. I'm here because I'm fearful.
Yeah.
It's fair. Yeah. You don't want to be in any relationship because of fear, because it hinders how much you can truly love the person. So have the conversations and be transparent.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that that's the dilemma for today's episode, because it's literally such a beautiful segue into the main, the juice, the
main gist.
Exactly. the je ne sais quoi, the insert something.
Yeah.
But yeah, today we're going to be talking about female friendships, and I'm personally really excited to be talking about this because I think there's a lot of content out there right now that is about romantic relationships, and we definitely add to that a little bit as part of like our content, and we definitely deal with that. But I think that especially in today's world, there's not a lot of instruction on how to actually be a good friend or how to maintain platonic relationships. And it's always the assumption of like, we have to make space for these soon to become romantic relationships and the friend comes second and stuff like that. Yeah. But no one really speaks about how to develop good friendships anymore. Yeah. With that in mind, Miss Courtney, we're all about sisterhood here.
We are indeed.
I mean, we are called Team My Sisters. So of course we refer to all of our community as sisters. But what is a good sister?
Oh, a good sister is someone who will love you. And sometimes love ain't pretty. Yeah. A good sister is someone who will support you, who is confident in you, who supports you, cheers you on, but also holds you accountable, and wants to see you accomplish all that you are, all you were created to accomplish. Yeah, that's what I'd say. A sister is a strong support system. Yeah. But also there's a lot of interdependence and codependence there, in terms of their expectation for you to be there for them as well. A sister is just, she's here for life, man. She's here. She's trying to see you win. Yeah. And you winning doesn't always look like she's going to agree with you. It doesn't always look like she's going to give you your way. She'll hold you accountable. Like I said, that's what a sister is. A sister is an accountability partner. They are a person you can clown with, you can have fun with, but most importantly, they're here for the journey. That's what I'd say a sister is. How about you?
Yeah, very similar, especially when you were speaking about support. Someone to actually like fight your corner.
Yeah.
Both when you're in the room and when you're out of the room. Like, and I mean, we're going to talk about like, you know, like toxic friendships and stuff like that.
The gossipers.
The gossipers, we coming for you today.
The two-faced one.
The two-faced, we're coming for all of you guys as next today. But let's talk about the good stuff first.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think it's definitely someone that can support you when you're both in and outside of the room. Someone that speaks highly of you as well to other people. I think that's just so important because if you are going to be someone that I'm accountable to and you can attest to the fact that I've been working on my character, you should be able to speak highly of me to other people as 100%. Well. Or like, you know, even when we're thinking about like, you know, business opportunities or just general opportunities that further my self-growth. Yeah. A sister is someone that is like the bridge. Yeah. That's somebody who can connect you with things that will actually take you to the next level. Exactly. 100%. A sister is someone who has me in mind as well. Like, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be every single waking moment. Yeah. But every now and again checks in. How are you doing? Yeah. Or I thought of you and I thought this would be nice for us to do. And I think a sister is also someone that's very proactive in the relationship. Someone who is proactively seeking your communal success, right? I think that sometimes, and we're going to talk about, you know, competition and mistrust and all of those kind of stuff, but somebody that recognizes that even if you're in similar lanes, you're in different lanes entirely. Yeah. And one person winning in their lane doesn't take away from you winning in your lane. 100%. And I think somebody that's willing to do up tag team with you in those areas, that's really what a sister is to me.
I love that. That was so well put. Yeah,
listen, a lot of it is modeled on my very own sister here, Miss Courtney Daniela. Shout out to Miss Courtney Daniela. We're gonna put her Cash App below, so if you'd like to, you know.
No. Oh, but if you want to send me money, I can send you by PayPal. Yeah.
But yeah, and I think I really wanted to start off with a definition of what a sister is and like the character traits and all of that good stuff. So it would be a nice little segue into, you know, we dropping a lot of segues recently. A nice little segue into what does it take to maintain a good friendship?
Oh, you know what? I think we harp about it a lot in relationships, right? But it's very similar in friendships. Whenever you're going to journey with someone, there needs to be sacrifice. There needs to be vulnerability. Sacrifice in the sense that, like you said, a sister is somebody who is always proactive in their maintenance of your friendship and also in seeking, like you said, your communal success. I think what's important is to have somebody who shows you, not in a self-depreciating way, but in the sense that I am here for you and I'm happy to put my time, my resources and my efforts into your success without expecting to have your success attributed to me, right? Because I think sometimes friends can be a bit narcissistic in the sense that like I'm here to help you and you're not a mentor. We're not talking about mentor relationships. We're talking about, do you get what I mean? We're talking about a sister, and a sister, what they call labor of love. She labors out of love. Like I'm helping you with whatever it is you need because I genuinely want to see you succeed. And like you said, your success is my success as well, but I don't want it to be out of it. There needs to be a selflessness. It's in essence. So it's sacrificial, but also it's quite, I think maintaining a friendship requires enough firmness. I think if you have a dynamic where one person is more of a pushover and the other person is more, I know what I want, you can sometimes find friendship dynamics that somebody is molding the other person into the perfect friend rather than fully accepting them for the person that they are. I think you need to have you need to have a friendship that allows both of you to evolve and both of you to grow. And in that evolution and in that growth, independent of each other, you need to find synergy when you're with each other. And I think if you don't put effort into that, into learning this person's new likes and dislikes, into learning their new goals, their new habits, their new other relationships that are not relationships that you're familiar with. If you don't take time understanding what that person's life path is looking like right now, you can't really help them. what else? What goes into maintaining good and healthy friendship? Healthy boundaries, but I think a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
A lot of vulnerability and transparency. I think people can only... The world has a perception of you as a person, right? According to your job, your work, your output, what they see of you, whatever that may be. And a true sister, in my opinion, gets to see all the way past your output and just look at how you're doing in your heart, in your mind. How are you treating yourself? They're less concerned, like we always talk about results and evidence, right? They're less concerned about the results. They're more concerned about the process and what process are you going through, and holding you accountable to a healthy process of character development, learning new skills and achieving new goals, starting that new business, pursuing your career, being, functional and in a functional relationship with the people around you. They're more concerned about the process and the integrity of you as a person rather than your results. They're gonna obviously celebrate you and hype you up, but I think in order to maintain your friendship, you have to have a place where you're vulnerable and you allow someone to hold you accountable, and that needs to be reciprocal. You can't have someone who is the accountability one and then somebody who's just constantly pouring out in vulnerability, because that's more of a mentor relationship. There needs to be balance there. There needs to be places where I call you up on things, you call me up on things, and I can check on you and you can check on me. But there needs to be a willingness to do that. And I think sometimes in friendships, it can be easy to want to keep up the facade that the outside world sees of you, and not let people close and in enough in your in proximity to you enough emotionally to see the true nature of what you're going through, the true nature of who you are. So I would say vulnerability, transparency, accountability, and all the other stuff that I listed before.
Ciao. I think we should just end the episode there. I think you've nailed it.
I'm trying to hear what you have to say,
I think you've nailed it. It's not really much else I could add to that, really.
No, but to be honest, it's just based on everything I have with you. Like, I'm thinking about the conversation we had on Friday. I was like, this is a perfect example of sisterhood. I wish the girls could have seen this, but at the same time, I'm happy that they did it, because we have to maintain our own friendship off camera. But I think it's just learning that when I'm down, I have someone to pull me up. When you're down, you have someone to pull you up, that wants to journey with you and see your success. But that requires killing your ego. That's all. I was on the phone to you shedding tears. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm overwhelmed. But you have to kill your ego. And friendship, a lot of the times we don't talk about the humility necessary in friendships.
I very, very much agree. Vulnerability is probably at the top, if not near the top, because you genuinely, any kind of relationship that you have that has real depth, you can have a lot of like acquaintances and friends, but the real friendships that have depth to them are the most valuable type of friendships and relationships you can have. Most because definitely. It means that the person knows you beyond the surface, knows you beyond the things that you yourself even put out, and can actually speak to your inner person when you're in a dire time. So even like the conversations that we have had, there's been times where I've also come to Courtney and I'm just like, I don't want to do this, or like, I think of the conversation we had yesterday. It's funny because we had like two, and in the first one you were out here to me, and the second one I was out here to you. Like, I'm tired of this and wanting to vent and stuff. And being vulnerable and transparent with another person makes it easier for them to discern what kind of help you need in the moment. So sometimes it might be a thing where you're a listening ear. Sometimes it might be a thing where you're solution oriented. Sometimes it might be a thing where you're thinking about the ways in which, you can make this person feel happier. So being vulnerable means that it allows people to have enough access to you such that they can discern the kind of help that you need when you need it. And that's important, because sometimes you yourself can't even tell, what is it that I need right now? But when someone else knows you, and when you let them in, they'll be able to lean on that access. They'll be able to lean on those experiences to be able to tell, I know how I can help you here. And I think maintaining a good friendship, again, as you said, it requires sacrifice. And it also means you need to be very proactive about cultivating those experiences. Like we spoke about in the dating episode, compounding experiences. You need that with your friend as well. Like, it's not enough to be, friends on social media. It's not enough to be, commenting on their pictures. It's not enough to be sending a text every once in a blue moon. Cultivating real friendships is not pretty all the time, and it takes significant energy and time and commitment.
Say it again.
Significant time, commitment, and energy. It's not easy. It really, really isn't easy. But then one of my favorite quotes are, some of the most beautiful things that we have in life are never easily come by. And I can definitely say that, like, in terms of our friendship, it was not easily come by. It took years of commitment and effort and energy.
That don't mean we've been showing, because I think sometimes people hear that and they think it's sticking around in moments of toxicity. Like, you know, when you hear them relationship posts, then relationship posts, we've been through so much. What we're talking about is more so like the humility, letting go of our egos, stuff like that. But I wasn't here, you know, verbally abusing my friend and then using that as hardship. I think that's sometimes the struggle is glamorized, you know. That's not what we're talking about.
It's entirely too much. They'll be out here saying, yeah, I was no. If your friend is abusing you, you should leave. You should leave. But we've been through so much together. We've experienced a lot of life together. We've journeyed together. That's why our friendship is so solid. The foundation is there, and we've just been building, and both of us are willing participants in that building process. You really need to find people around you that are willing to build with you. But also importantly, you need to be willing to build yourself. And I think that's the one thing that I really love about like TMS in general is, I love how you guys are always like, oh, you're snatching our edges again, and like, oh, why are you coming for me unnecessarily? Not sorry about last week, because some folks needed to hear it. Needed to hear it, because oftentimes we externalize all of these things and push it onto the other person, when really it's about us as people too,
doing the work.
Which is why we started with, what does it mean to be a good friend, and not just what does it mean to maintain a good friendship,
or find good friends.
Exactly, because we forget that it takes two to tango, or it takes you plus another person to really make that fruitful. So I really, really want to urge you. I mean, we always talk about self-awareness and self-reflection, but it's not just about the other person. Are you yourself willing to put in the time, energy, and maintenance required for that friendship?
This is it.
It's
and
not easy.
A lot of people aren't. I think a lot of us can be very... Just in life in general, a lot of us are self-centered, right? And you think of your friends as accessories to you. They're here to help you, but you're also in their life too. When they're taking center stage in their life and in their story, you're there to support them. And there's a lot of narcissism sometimes that occurs in loads of relationships. But the more we kind of romanticize, I'm waiting for something to come to me. It's kind of like what we were talking about in the manifesting episode, and not becoming that which you are expecting. It's not easy to maintain. It's hypocritical to maintain standards that you don't live up to and yet expect them so much from people. Be developing yourself as well. And then you can demand those things because you know how to give those things. And you've done that internal work. So I love that you mentioned that.
No, honestly, it's so, so true. And then thinking about, you know, friendships and maintaining friendships, what are some of the benefits that you would say are of, you know, investing in female friendship?
Listen, like I am such a genuine believer in sisterhood, right? Obviously, like even doing this, it's just because of a genuine belief in sisterhood. I think sisterhood is one of the most life transforming like forces in the world. I genuinely think having friendship, like, life is meant to be done in community, and that community isn't always romantic. And I think we place so much emphasis on these intimate romantic relationships that are going to push us closer to purpose or push us closer to a sense of fulfillment. But actually, a lot of the time, you can give that to most people. That's why, like, a lot of people aren't working on their relationship with their parents because they're waiting till they start their own family so they can do it right. But you've got something you can be working on in the meantime, which is your own family relationship, your own parent dynamic. Or the same with, I'm waiting to, you know, being in a relationship so I can find my best friend. How many people are around you that could be your best friend? Like, you can find friendship in everyone, right? Obviously to varying degrees. I think what's beautiful about female friendships is, I always say this thing, no one can call you up on your BS like another woman. Because let's be real, a lot of us see them, maybe y'all can get at me in the comments, a lot of us see the men in our lives, majority of the men in our lives, as romantic prospects. So they can't really G-check us in a way that is completely platonic.
Yeah.
Whereas with the women in our lives, of course, if you're heterosexual, like with the women in our lives, it's like, you're just a friend, right? I can have this level of vulnerability and openness with you without thinking about being desirable. Do you get what I mean? Like, when you confide in men, sometimes you glam things up because you don't want to look like a mess.
Yeah.
Or when you confide in certain people. But when you have a friend that's on your level and you're looking peer to peer, why do I have to hide anything? You know, it's easier to let that facade go, especially if they are close to you. And so I think female friendships are really powerful because they allow you that space for vulnerability and they allow you that space for transparency with someone who kind of gets your perspective and where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And just generally, I feel like this ain't, nothing to, because I think men experience this as well when you have good brotherhood,
100%,
right?
100%.
And so I think it's a thing of having people around you who you can just be cool with. Just, it's as simple as that. It's so casual. And I think we overthink so much. Like, we are overthinking way too much. But listen, in a world where we have so much social media and we're meant to be more social, a lot of us have become more antisocial because we don't. And we have so much social anxiety. And I don't like being in like spaces with people and having to have some like in real life conversations. No one gets me. It's like, you don't have friends. Like, it's clear you haven't put in the effort to having real life friends. That's so unhealthy. Don't think just because you can connect with people on social media that you're having healthy, functional, fruitful friendship. That is completely different. And that is something that should actually be honored. Like, the power of having people in your life who you can actually physically have proximity to you. Yeah. It's second to none. That's what human beings were created for, Social media cannot, what do they call it? Simulate that. I don't think it can. As much as we have FaceTime, all of that, we need friendship. We need friendship. So that's what I'd say. I think some of the sorry, I didn't even answer your question. Some of the benefits of friendship. Sorry, it just came to my mind now. That was what the question.
When you've written the essay and you're like, let me just link it back to the question.
So in this conclusion, I'm just gonna say the answer is yes. No, in terms of the benefits I've had of having, female. That was the question, right?
Yeah.
Having female friendship in my life. I think having people around you who support you even when you're in doubt has been one of the biggest things for me. Like, I am someone, as much as people can look at you and be like, oh, you've got things all so well to put together and you're so successful and you're so smart and all of that. Yeah. Oftentimes for me, I don't always believe it, and there's a lot of like imposter syndrome, a lot of doubt. And that's not to say you're here to stroke my ego at all, but genuine like doubts. Like, I don't think I can live up to all of this, and over anxiety, depression, whatever is overwhelming me and all of that. To have somebody who, like you said, is in your corner and is happy to take the time to remind you that don't give in to those lies and don't give up now. That has probably been one of the most invaluable parts of friendship for me, because it's so easy to give up. It's so easy to be discouraged, and to have somebody who sees those vulnerable parts of you and is not fazed by the fact that, oh, wait, I thought you had things put together. Like, I'm a mess. Like, she knows I'm a mess. Like, I'm not. I have a great output, 100% great work ethic, but I'm a mess. That. And so to have somebody who can look at that and think, I'm still not going to give up on you, is really important, I think, for human beings to know that I see an intrinsic value in you that is way past your output and what you produce, but rather in the fact that I, for some reason, connect with you so much as a person. That has been one of the most beautiful things about friendship for me. Yeah. And I think that that's a life-changing thing, because it's so easy to put your value in relationships. It's so in your relationship status and the things you have in your work and your career. But to have a friend who just like, I just want to chill with you. I just want to know you, outside of what you can do for me. I just want to ride with you. Yeah. That's powerful. But how about you?
Well, Oh gosh, sorry, Courtney. I'm so discombobulated by your answer. That was such
I just talked for like the last 10 minutes. I was rambling.
Really did enjoy it. No, because I think you made so many beautiful points, right? Like the fact that with female friends, you have a reference point, right? And there's something that is so unique about the female experience that it's nice to know that there's folks who can both resonate with those experiences but are also different. So the fact that you've got these little really cool inflections of a very similar experience to give you a different perspective, I think is invaluable. And like, you already know that I'm such a advocate of having friends from all walks of life and making sure that your company is as diverse as you can possibly get, right? And I think female friendships are just so important when it comes to that. And I just think like women are just so powerful, man. Women are cool and powerful.
What? The women way we love, the way we give,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's really, really powerful. And to not want that kind of energy around you, I think you're missing a trick entirely.
Massively.
Missing a trick entirely. And having someone that's fighting in your court, or having a lot of folks, or not too many, depending on the kind of person you are and how much time you can invest, but not even just thinking about you, but thinking about our wider female group. Like we have like a really strong community of women within ourselves. It's like 6 or 7 people deep. And knowing that I can stand on each of those women, is a beautiful feeling. It is so beautiful, and it feels so safe as well. Knowing that I can go out with these women and have a good time, but equally sit in with these women and pour out my deepest, darkest secrets. 100%. We can do our dirty laundry together, quite literally, where, you know, we speak about some of the things that we think are shameful, or some of the things that, you know, we have in the dark. Being able to have a circle of friends that you trust, that you can do that with, is so rare today as well. Like sometimes when I speak about like, oh, I'm just like chilling with the girls today, or like going to, you know, girl party or whatnot, folks will be looking at me like, how long have you known these folks for? Like, how long have you known these people? It's like, oh, I've known them since like secondary school. And we've been hanging out, just like 6 of us for quite some time. And they're like, raw, that's really like,
it's actually crazy. It's actually
really
crazy.
Rare.
Yeah.
It's really rare, but it's so beautiful knowing that you can do all of these things with all of these different people, and they're all women. Like, it's cool.
I think that's why sometimes when people like say things like, I don't have a lot of female friends, it kind of stumps us. Like,
just like,
how? What? So you ain't got a squad? Like you... And you're right. Like having that friendship, it's easy to take it for granted, but having that friendship group where there's a few of us, and it's like, we genuinely love each other. Like no matter the period of time that goes by, like we love each other, and that's it.
Yo, we're so super privileged to have them. And honestly, shout out to the squad. You guys already know what it is. This
gang.
What do you call it? It feels like, what do you call it? Wilding out. Big shout out before I do my rap.
Big shout out to the homies.
What up? Big up the homies. Y'all know what it is. But yeah, like we do, and being able to have those experiences with each other is so invaluable. And I think that's part of the reason why we have so many unrealistic expectations for relationships, because we pile on all of our community expectations or our community experiences on one person. They cannot be your everything.
This is it. And oftentimes that's what, okay, we all know you're looking for a best friend and a partner. That's completely different. But we're talking about you. He can't be everything to you, babe. Or she can't be everything.
Is he coming with you to get your nails done? He's not. I promise you. He's not.
It's not even just that, but there are some things you don't really want to tell your partner, because most of the time it's about your partner. You can't really tell you. I can't go to my girls and gist.
Bruh, keeping it absolutely a buck with you. This is it. Keeping it absolutely a buck.
There are some things you just don't want to. I can't gist with you about you, but also there's a different experience I have with these women, no matter how long you've known them, that I don't have with you yet, or we haven't got yet. And it's vice versa. There are some things you wouldn't go to your girls about that only your partner and you should be discussing.
Right.
But I think having those expectations, like, it's so important. And like you said, having the mix of the energies in your life, like as much as I'm not a like energy person, I do think it's important to have that female and male presence in your life, because they bring and they contribute so much that's different, but that ultimately propel you forward.
Honestly and truly, like, I'm sorry, I'm so stuck on that point about there's just certain things that you go to your girls for and certain things you go to your man for. There just is.
You people that don't have girlfriends, you're dangerous. It's all pent up inside of you. Have you watched Waiting to Excel? It's only your girls that can come and get you out of a stage of madness.
Bruh. Even like little basic things like going out with your friends and feeling safe because you're in a group of all girls, right? Yeah. Your man can only do so much. Do you know what I mean? But 100%. If there's a good like 5 or 6 of you, like, folks will back
but I think it leads to an unhealthy and toxic level of dependence as well. Like if you've made one person in your life, whether it's a friend, a parent, a romantic partner, your everything, the likelihood of you leaving when toxic behavior is demonstrated is lessened. There's a reason why one of the biggest tactics of abusers is to isolate you, because community gives you wisdom. If you don't have community, sometimes you'll be moving like that lost lamb that has lost the flock and has now fallen victim to many prey. You don't want that to be you. So getting in community that is healthy and that is actually seeking for your protection is really important.
No, you're preaching today, especially about community wisdom. It's very much about having access to multiple perspectives at the same time. Yeah. Like there's many times where amongst our friends, we will have debates and we don't necessarily agree with 100%. Each other, but it's very important that we have those different access to those different perspectives so that we know that they exist and we know that these are the lived experiences of other women as well.
This is it.
Sometimes we can think that our lived experience is the female lived experience, and it's not.
At all.
We start to normalize things that are not necessarily normal, but because we've experienced it, we think that we're the benchmark. We're not.
This is it. You're not.
And we learn so many, like from funny things to serious things. We learn so much from other people and their lived experiences. And we learn so much from, you know, we're mostly thinking about like horizontal female friendships, but you can also have vertical ones where you're friends with ladies that are older than you. Yeah. And there are some ladies who are like my friends that are much older, and the things that I've learned from them is crazy.
It's life-changing stuff actually when you have older women around you, and sometimes even younger women. There are younger women around me who I listen to, I'm like, how, you're so ambitious, you're so bold, you're so like my younger cousins, for example, the way they'll say things directly, I'm like, I need to learn some of that. You lot are a bit rude, but I need to learn some of that. But then there are also the older women, the women with the kids, been married 40 years, that you listen to and you're thinking, wow, like wisdom. Like if I wasn't around this, I'd be fumbling about like an idiot.
Like one actual fish, 100%. Like one dehydrated fish, just everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, it might be difficult, but cultivating different types of female friendships as well, not just ones where you're around your age mates, but actively speaking to folks who are older than you and younger than you, and folks that don't look like you as well. Yes. Making sure that if speaking to women outside of your, you know, ethnicity, your race,
your class, cultural background, talk to all, like there's so much about learning, like you said, from other people's lived experience that is so important to become a well-rounded human being, because it's so easy to just get a Western lens or just a young millennial lens or a Gen Z lens on life. And you've got to realize not everyone has that, or like a working class lens. When I went to university, some of the girls that I was talking to, I'm like, so this is possible? Like, you didn't grow up in struggle. And I wouldn't know that unless I had other people's lived experiences and I put myself out of my comfort zone. I think you've experienced so much similar. Put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Definitely. And I think it's more so about decentering yourself again. So the world doesn't necessarily revolve around you, but you must revolve around the world.
I love that.
Try to revolve around the world, because that's what is really, really going to change your life.
I love that.
That's definitely going to change your life.
You must revolve around the world. Wow. You always be dropping some heavy hitting. Dang.
Oh my God, girl. You know, I'm just taking from you. I'm just learning from you. I'm just learning from you. Learning from you, man. I'm trying to be like you. Have you seen that Spider-Man meme? Oh my goodness. But yeah, learn from female communities. And I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but I really want to like know your thoughts on why do you think we center romantic relationships so much over platonic relationships?
We live in a hypersexualized culture, number one. I think a lot of us perceive intimacy to only be a sexual thing, right?
That's good. That's
so I
really
think
good.
if you live in a world where it's like sorry, I was about to say something very well, but I'm going to say it. If the only way you can show vulnerability is to be naked, physically naked, you've got a problem. You need to learn how to connect with your heart.
I don't even think that's controversial.
I don't think a lot of us know how to do that. I think a lot of us pacify our feelings with so many things of life.
Yeah.
So when people start asking you uncomfortable questions about your deepest fears, your deepest anxieties, what overwhelms you, what you struggle with, but even more positive things, what are your biggest goals? What are your wildest dreams? Sometimes sharing those things because of fear of disappointment, because of past experiences of heartbreak, we aren't vulnerable. And the only way sometimes nowadays, I think we're learning to be vulnerable is to take off our clothes. Yeah. I don't want to take off my clothes in front of you. Well, I've done it before, but it's not like it's not sexual. It's like, exactly. Yeah, it's not sexual. And I think it's the only way we know how to be intimate is to be sexual, we've got a problem. And I think friendships, obviously, it's not a sexual relationship. And I think number two, a lot of status is attached to romantic relationships that is not attached to friendship. Okay, being in a relationship, it comes with the gifts, it comes with the applauses, it comes with the your relationship goals. Nowadays, I think the idolatry of relationship is there. Yeah. Whereas with friendship, what is the overarching trophy I get from being your best friend? Do you get what I mean? I don't. It's just it's a friendship. It's a self-sacrifice thing. It's enjoyment. And I think that sometimes means that we don't invest in it too much because the reward doesn't seem to be the same, if that makes sense. Like we attribute romantic relationships with reward because you get to tick off your goal. I got married, or he bought me this, or we bought a house, or whatever. But with friendship, you don't really have those goals to tick off. You've just got to journey with someone. I think that's why I would say there's a lot of emphasis on romantic relationships rather than platonic relationships. Both require you to be vulnerable, both require you to be selfless. I just think that romantic relationships in the world that we live in seem to have more of a benefit. They're painted as more rewarding. So people would rather put their efforts to that rather than friendships, which can sometimes, even from a narrative point of view, be painted as more stress than it's worth, if that makes sense. Like, do you see enough representation of healthy relationships? Like, even look at Girlfriends, for example, how much toxicity was in that show. Right. Even though they did show a friendship group collectively, and I love Girlfriends, I think oftentimes it can be shown that obviously friendship is not easy, but do people show the true benefits of friendship and friendship outside of romantic relationship? I don't know. I think friendship can, especially friendship amongst women, can be given such a bad rap. Like, I'm currently watching Desperate Housewives, and Desperate Housewives does show that friendship amongst women is actually quite healthy so far. I'm only on season 3. It might get worse. But I feel like oftentimes when you think about women in friendships, you think about cattiness, you think about gossip, you think about competition, you think about backhanded compliments. Somebody secretly wants your man. People are trying to, compete with you. I don't think female friendships have a healthy rap right now. Yeah. That's what I would say. How about you?
No, I definitely agree. And I think going back to patriarchy, where a woman's worth for a very long time has been tied to how well she can perform in society, how well she can appease a man, and men being the prize and the goal. If men are the prize and the goal, then what would a friendship serve towards getting that, unless the friendship helped you to get the man? Exactly. Unless it, facilitated you getting the prize. And that in of itself can be very toxic because, as you said, like, isolation is not good for human beings. And it's cool that, you found your spouse, your babes, your life partner.
My life partner.
But as you said, like, life was never meant to be done alone or done, in isolation, even if it's with another person. Like, I think living, even if you do have a partner, living within a community is really important for accountability purposes, for just, again, perspective. And I think, for us as women, just with the prize being marriage and men and all of this kind of stuff, our eyes, even today, and that's why a lot of content around things like dating and relationships and stuff like that really does get a lot more visibility than, say, friendship, because there's still an element of status attached to it. There's still an element of this is the prize here. There's still an element of like, will my life really be fulfilled if I don't have a partner to show
romantic
for it?
Partner.
Exactly. It's like, am I unlovable? And it's like, I don't believe that you can have the fullness of the human experience without prioritizing friendship. If you don't have friends, or if you don't prioritize having friends in your life alongside romantic relationships, you will fumble, fluster, and I just feel like your life will be very
fall on your face.
Like your life must be very, very narrow.
But even think about it though. A lot of us, the way we even engage with relationship and the idea of it, it's not even a natural evolution from friendship. We just jump straight into romance.
That's a good point.
We actually avoid and dodge friendship elements and focus mainly on romance. And recently I've been hearing so many people say, focus on being friends with your partner, being focused on being friends with your partner. And I think if we ask the question for people who are in romantic relationships, if you weren't kissing or having any sexual intimacy with your partner and you had friendship alone, would it be enough? Would it satisfy you in the way you think? And I think a lot of us would say no, because we haven't learned to cultivate how to have healthy, fruitful friendships. We use intimacy, sexual intimacy, to cover up a lot of things and as a substitute for, or we use that to count as proximity and closeness. I'm close to you because we have sex. Or I'm close to you because I kiss you. I'm close to you because I do things with you I don't do with anyone else. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? But rather, actually, what is our friendship saying and how healthy is that? And
it's so true. And I think it goes the same way for like male and female friendships.
Yes,
I think there's so much, like, I love what you were saying about the fact that sometimes many of us are on the lookout for potentials. 100%. Even if he's not your type or on your radar or anything, you'll just be thinking, this is a man.
100%.
So if I want to get a man, I must keep this one close. And I must, perform just to see if I can get a man. And it doesn't have to be that way.
So many of us don't know how to. I realized I struggled with this for a long time. Like not knowing. It was when, obviously, we both went to an all-girls school.
Yeah.
Growing up around women, you're most likely your best friends are going to be women. Our whole group is a squad of women. But when you get to university, it's like, oh, men. And especially when the expectation is, when I get to university, I'm going to find my husband.
Yep.
Every man you bump into is a potential suitor.
I just want to listen, for all of our younger sisters out here, all of you folks that are going to university this year. Yeah,
please leave that
including my own younger sisters. I know you guys are listening. I know you guys are watching. You will not focus on your studies.
Sorry, twins, I didn't put her onto this. Live your best life, okay? We will also do rubbish at uni.
Focus on your I don't want to listen. I don't want to be out. I fell in love with so and so. Focus on your studies.
Renee, were we not falling in love with those 3 years at university that we were doing? The 4 years that you did. Anyways,
learn from. No, in all seriousness,
I hate you.
You really need to release yourself from the bondage of, I must find my husband from university. I must find my husband from every male friend I have.
It is Joan syndrome.
Oh, yes.
Joan, another girlfriend reference. Every man that she met, you've got to size him up as a potential suitor. And I get it to a degree, but at the same time, you've got to learn to just have normal, innocent friendships and leave it there.
And that's okay.
That's all right.
It's actually really important.
It's actually very helpful as well, by the way.
Exactly.
Not enough of us just have normal friendships with men.
Exactly.
Just normal, platonic, functional relationships. And the thing is, what's even beautiful about that is they can evolve. Like if something does come from that, it can evolve.
Yeah.
But sometimes, we just romanticize things a bit too much. And as soon as a man comes, and it also shows in the fact that, like, To be honest, though, men can often sexualize their friends as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And that's another issue in itself. Women need to also just be a friendship presence in your life.
Men need to actually have the whole conversation. Men need male communities as well.
One day we're gonna have a whole conversation about male friendships and brotherhood. Obviously, we can't really talk about it because we're women.
We can bring some brothers on.
We can bring some brothers on 100, but we ain't trying to jump in men's business like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like not having enough honest, transparent conversations and environments in male friendships has meant that a lot of accountability is lacking when it comes to men.
Exactly.
And oftentimes, okay, unpopular opinion, I don't think women can sometimes hold most men accountable.
Yeah.
I don't think the most I don't think the driving force of your accountability in your life should be someone of the opposite sex.
I agree.
I think it should be someone of the same sex as you.
Yeah. There's certain things that I feel like as a result of that, like the lack of like male on male friendship, there's certain things that women are trying to overcompensate for in certain circumstances that I just don't think.
And that is why we are mothering our brothers.
Yeah. Not just our brothers, but our partners too.
But that's what I mean. Our brothers in the sense of our peers. We're mothering. They're not our sons. Do you get what I mean? We're trying to.
Well, Nicki Minaj might have something else to say. You know, let me stop.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but I think in the sense that when a woman jumps into a relationship, sometimes, especially because of the lack of maturity, sometimes her automatic response in order to make that man what she wants is to mother him.
Yes.
He needs a father figure. Or to talk to his actual mother. But it's not you. You're his sis. That's what I'm saying. He needs a father, he needs a mother, but you're not it. And I think that that's what a lot of us do because men lack that accountability. And because women, I think, tend to be more committed to this personal growth journey from an earlier age, right?
Yeah.
They listen to this personal development stuff and all of that. We then try and fix them.
Yeah.
We then try and raise them. And in the words of K. Michelle, you can't raise a man. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
I just think that there's something powerful about being G-checked by your boy.
This is it.
In the same way that there's power in the way that women G-check other women, sometimes guys need to be G-checked by guys.
Other men.
Not even sometimes. Most times. If not all of the time.
100%.
You need to be G-checked by another guy because, there's just so much power in that. There's so much power in brotherhood. Obviously, this is to my sisters. We're out here in the sisterhood.
Yeah,
and all that kind of
there's
stuff,
so much power in sisterhood too.
But the brothers.
Send that clip to your brother.
Yeah, send that clip. Send it to your brothers. They need male friends that are willing to do like journey with them. And of the male friends that I have that have strong, thriving male friendships and male communities, boy, oh boy.
They are the most healthy, balanced
balanced folk. They are unafraid to absolutely like hold their friends accountable. They are unafraid to like give their opinions and stuff like that. And I think what's really, really healthy is that they don't center women.
This is it. They don't.
It's not about how many women you've been with. It's not about getting women. It's just as men.
And we're not just talking about a guy who has a group of boys, right? We're talking about maturity. Maturity. And I think that's one element of sisterhood as well. Quality. With one element of friendship as well. It's about maturing with each other as well and being able to hold each other accountable to that level of maturity.
100%. Well, before we actually deep dive into that tangent, because that in of itself is a whole topic, talking about brotherhood from the perspective of sisters, that would be a juicy topic. Comment below if that's something that you would like to hear from us.
We want to know.
But yeah, moving on to talking about the kind of ugly side of female friendship. So we've talked about, the fact that there can be healthy female relationships and the benefits. Why is there often so much competition and mistrust amongst women when it comes to female friendships?
I think you put it perfectly about the patriarchy. I think women seeing their value... Okay. Patriarchy pits women against each other. Women seeing their value in men and that narrative of there's not enough men out there or men are doing the picking, you have to kind of show yourself to be better than the next person in order to kind of natural selection and compatibility and, all that wild thinking in order to be that optimal spouse, or partner or mate, that's the word I'm looking for. In order to be the prime mate, you have to show yourself as better than the next one, right? So I guess that element of competition and comparison comes into play there. I think when a lot of your security and self-esteem is placed on other people's reception of you, whether male or female, but just generally people approving of you or people giving you a round of applause and praising you, if that is generally the sort of person that you are, anyone else becomes a threat, especially when you kind of view them as being on the same level as you, right? With men, we can attribute it to he's just a man, people are clapping for him. But when there's another woman in your life who is receiving the praise that you may desire to have, she ultimately will become a threat. And a perceived threat, or somebody you just despise, if we're going to be honest, right? I think it's easy in a world where you can be so self-centered to see anyone as a threat to you, and anyone as becoming the main character. You don't want to make someone the main character in your life, right? And in order to do that, sometimes we make sure that everyone around us either makes us feel good or we don't feel like they can do better than us. Like you have a lot of people who surround themselves with people who feed their egos. And I think sometimes when you see women who won't feed your ego, it's like, who do you think you are? And especially if you're around them women who challenge you, who are you to challenge me on something to be better? Do you think you're better than me? Like all of these insecurities start to appear. So I think that's another element. But I also think just generally as people, we don't respect. Dare I say, like,
you don't have any respect.
You don't have any respect.
No respect.
One element of keeping a healthy friendship is to respect each other. You actually have to honor and respect each other. I need to realize that, one, there are some things you do better than me, right? There are things in you which I don't know how to put it. I think too many of us become too familiar with people and we forget how to actually love the fact that they are different from us. We envy their differences. Do you get what I mean? And if somebody displays to you, it's easy to perceive people as threats rather than appreciate how different they are to you, if that makes sense.
No,
I can't remember what the question was though. Real rap. My brain, I'm telling you, my attention deficit.
Because even me, I was just like, cut the cameras down. The question was around competition, mistrust, when it comes to making and sustaining like female friendships. Yeah,
I think that's it. I think it's when you can't appreciate people's differences, you see them as a threat to you, and especially if you're really self-centered. Or you're not happy for people to push you or hold you accountable, if you're not willing to be self-aware enough to say there are places where I'm lacking or there's places where I may have insecurity, it's easy for people to perceive the women around them as a threat. But also, some people don't respect even you. You know, some people are rude. And I think a lot of people have this...
some of you guys are rude.
No, I think a lot of people don't understand sometimes the way you communicate, the way you talk to people, you're a bit brash. Like there's this proverb in the Bible: if you want to have friends, be friendly. I don't think a lot of people are friendly or as friendly as they think they are. A lot of people say this thing, well, you'll like me if you break my walls down. I'm not a fireman. I'm not coming to chop down, like what we were talking about in 2 episodes ago, or something about not building boundaries, building walls. A lot of us want people to fight for us before they even know what they're fighting for. Exactly. I don't know you. So if you're going to give me bad attitude, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm sorry. Gone are those days. I'm not trying to save you. If you want a friend, be friendly.
This is true.
That's what I mean. So I think that sometimes that thing of a lot of us don't respect ourselves. We don't respect other people. And it creates egos, and friendships and egos don't really go hand in hand.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Especially around the fact that some of us are just not friendly. Some of us are rude. I mean,
you've got to know.
You're not nice.
You're not nice.
You're not the prize that you think you are quite just yet.
Well, damn.
No, it's true. You're not quite
not
the
disagreeing.
Prize. This whole building a fortress and expecting someone to come and knock it down for you.
Please stop it.
I don't have time for that.
Some of us have that serious Disney princess complex. For your even friends. In friendships, literally come and do all the most. You're looking just for ride or die.
No, I even made it clear to as much as I banter Courtney and I'm like, Courtney, what would you do if I did X, Y, Z? Yeah, we've made it clear to each other that we're fragile. We're not doing sensitive. This whole ride or die situation unless we get there. I'm fragile. This whole ride or die, this is quite serious, yeah? And this is for us having almost a decade of friendship. For you folks that are out here with only a year in, or you're trying to like make new friends and you're expecting people to jump over a bridge for you, it's not going to happen. Respectfully.
Respect each other's boundaries, please. Respect. You have to.
And even when it comes to competing, I think you hit the nail on the head, because I think that many of us are in our heads competing with folks even though we're in different lanes. Yeah. And it comes back to what I was saying earlier about the fact that a good system recognizes that the lanes that you're in are different. But many of us think we're all in the same lane, and many of us don't realize that the prize is actually the spouse. The figure of the spouse that is hanging over our heads. Okay. The guy we're gonna marry, or the desirability, or so whatever the being desirable is what many of us are fighting for. Yeah. And this leaks into our friendships where we now become distrustful, or we become competitors with other women because we think that they're standing in our way of being the most desirable. This whole ratings, or even the whole, I don't know if you've heard the whole trope of like folks that will have like, oh, I have pretty friends and I have friends that are not as pretty, or like I have ugly friends, and their benefit to me is that it makes me look more desirable to men. And I'm just like... I'm just
That's what I mean. Like, leave it out.
Really?
What?
Really?
We're human.
You really thought, oh, these will be my pretty friends and these will be my ugly friends.
You can't use people as pawns in your life. Stop that.
And it's like, if you need folks around you to make you look more beautiful, were you really desirable in the first place?
You ugly. Let's just leave it there.
I didn't want to say it out. I didn't want to.
Ugly in and out.
Because the fact that you need somebody to be on this spectrum so that you can look better. Yeah. My God. Yeah. Why would you be even thinking
that's what I was gonna say. The fact you even think in that way, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
That is trash.
Yep. It's actually trash. So get rid of that mindset. Don't be making friends just because you need like pretty friends or like ugly friends and stuff like that. If you're like, wow. If you're thinking that way, you're probably not a good friend.
You're superficial.
You're extremely superficial. And
we want sisterhood with depth.
Absolutely.
Over here, okay?
And your entire existence is wrapped around how desirable you are to a potential mate. Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone prettier than you, babe.
This is it. Always. We were literally having that this conversation ahead of this episode. There's always somebody that you will consider prettier than
100%. 100%.
So you can't base your relationships just off of that.
Facts.
And with that note, did you hear that natural pause? Wow. I know you heard that natural pause. You heard it, didn't you? Oh, God.
You're so annoying, man.
Master cultivator, they call me. Hostess with the mostess. Various tag names and whatnot. For my services, you can go to www.reneethehostess.com. I'm trolling. Although I did see a comment that was really heartening recently. What? That was like, when's Renee's mixtape gonna drop?
Oh, wow.
Listen, yeah.
Soon come, we can actually organise this. Studio time and all.
No, Cody,
I could do ad-libs if you want.
Don't make me cry, because that will actually make my whole day.
There's things I discovered. You want to do an EP? Because I already knew about your dance career. I said I'll even back you on it.
Get you a supportive sister.
Yeah, I said we can start choreographing. But you really want us to be writing lyrics?
I think we can do a TMS EP.
Oh, can I go on tour with you?
Of course.
I could be your hype man. On my dates.
You can be doing all the what do you call it? Ad-libs.
Ad-libs, that's what. Yeah. Get it.
Oh, we should do the whole. Stop it.
I'm practicing.
If we get 100 likes, then we're going to drop it. No,
please don't promise.
But that's when people actually come and like.
Smash that like button. We don't do that. We don't commit to anything.
On that note, folks, we hope that you enjoyed this conversation and let us know what you have to say about your friendships.
Yeah.
Do you have healthy female friendships? Do you have healthy male friendships? What are your thoughts on toxic friendships? And what have your experiences been? You can always let us know by dropping a comment in our YouTube video. So drop them below, drop them like it's hot. This is great. You know what?
You got will come in already. She said a sample.
Oh, just a sample. You know what I'm saying?
Hot.
So yeah, drop those comments like it's hot in our YouTube video. And you can always come and say hi to us on Instagram and on Twitter @ToMySisterhood. And don't forget that you can come and say hi to us individually @CD Boateng and @Renee Katutu.
Yes, and if you have not already, what are you playing at, girl?
It's really embarrassing.
If you want exclusive glow and grow tips, you need to join the mailing list. Head over to www.tomysisters.com and you'll be able to join all the thousands of sisters across the world who receive weekly newsletters from us so that we can journey together. And they get the realty over on the newsletter. I won't even lie to you. But we will talk to you very soon in our next episode. And as always, sis, keep glowing and growing.